victory for the auto sector and, more importantly, for diesel car manufacturers who had been bearing the brunt of a backlash against air pollution. Now, the Supreme Court today has lifted the ban on registration of diesel cars in Delhi NCR. The Supreme Court was hearing a plea from German car maker Mercedes Benz seeking to lift that diesel ban on engines above 2000 cc and above. Ashmit has been tracking that case at the court. Ashmit, what was the court's rationale behind lifting the ban? Did it have anything to say to Mercedes Benz's plea?
Well, as we have seen as we have even reported over the last few months, the Supreme Court wasn't very keen on the ban. Instead, was keen on a model wherein there is a cess, an environmental cess, a green cess that is levied on diesel cars along the lines of the polluter paying principle. Now, that in fact is the stance that the Supreme Court took again today. In the process, what they have effectively done is that they have lifted the diesel ban, which was imposed on Delhi NCR beginning December of 2015. That ban effectively has been lifted. But here are important details to make a note of. First up, the Supreme Court has held that for lifting this ban, a cess of 1% will be levied on the sale of, on the ex-showroom price of diesel cars that are sold, and this cess will be levied on cars that have an engine capacity of higher than 2000 cc. Now, this in fact was a submission made by Mercedes, which was supplemented by Toyota, and subsequently we even saw Siam coming forth and clarifying that there are various members of the association which are open to the idea of a 1% cess. So that has been included. Furthermore, we understand that the Supreme Court has clarified that this will not apply retrospectively, the cess, that it will apply only prospectively, so giving clarity there with respect to the application. Meanwhile, on key questions here, questions of whether or not this cess should be levied across the board on all diesel cars or merely on those cars which have an engine capacity of higher than 2000 cc, that's one question that the Supreme Court has left open. The Supreme Court, in fact, the amicus in this matter, Harish Salve, had sought a cess across the board for all diesel cars. That has not been allowed yet, but is open for consideration. Also, the quantum of the cess, currently it's at 1%, but the Supreme Court has been careful to mention that as far as this entire quantum of the cess is concerned, that is another issue that the Supreme Court will be open for considering in the future date for any upward revision, if any, that has to be considered. In the meanwhile, it's also important to clarify that Centre today reiterated its position that it is in principle against the levy of any surcharge or cess by the judiciary, that is solely the prerogative of the legislature. It falls within the domain of the legislature, and that the judiciary cannot intervene in such a fashion. So that's the stance that they've taken, but the broad sum and substance being that the diesel ban has been lifted.
Right, Ashmit, thanks so much for that. In fact, let's also listen into what Maruti and M&M had to say following that verdict. As expected, they are cheerful.
Against diesel. That sentiment will again reverse, and we'll have a more balanced buying option with people relating to petrol and diesel. It will take some time for reversal to happen, but I think the reversal process will start now.
The decision, I think more than the volume, I would say that the sentiments which were not for right reasons, the overall the passenger vehicle, I think the diesel percentage which has gone to as high as 49% had slipped.
And not just car makers, we also caught up with the new Environment Minister Anil Dave in what is his first interview in that post. And we asked him his reaction on the Supreme Court lifting the diesel ban. And this is what he had to say.
Supreme Court is a supreme authority, particularly in the field of the judgment and laws-related issues. So it is always welcome, whatever they say, whatever they advise, whatever they comment, because it is the duty of all the four pillars of the democracy that they should respect each other, and they should always have a great way to look the things all those way. Therefore, Supreme Court might have gone under the very steady, long thinking process, consultation, and after that they have given a judgment, and therefore no comments on the judgment, but certainly it will be, they might have taken this decision in the interest of the country and society.